Okay, I think we can start. There's quite a couple of people on. Like I said, we are gonna be making a recording of this session today. Thank you everybody who can make the time to be with us. We're gonna keep the session to 1 hour. The first half an hour we are going to give over to Omega. Maurits van Wyk here, connecting to us from exactly where in South Africa are you?
I am in Johannesburg.
You are in Johannesburg. Okay, so Maurits is connecting with us from sunny Johannesburg. The rest of us here in Namibia. Maurits is going to take the first half an hour. He's going to talk to you around Omega and their Teams collaboration solution. And then the last half an hour, I'm going to be taking you through the new Microsoft Employee Experience Program. Like I said, I am making a recording for us. I'll share it afterwards in the session. You will have the opportunity, if something of interest is discussed today, you will have the opportunity to have a one-on-one session if you want, or just get more information. We'll be sharing that after the session. You are welcome to join in. You are all just muted by default, but if you would like to say something, please do, or use the hand raise feature, the chat box. It's all there. It's an interactive session. We welcome you guys to comment and to discuss with us and ask questions. Okay, so without further ado, Maurits, over to you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, afternoon, everyone. What I normally start off with is just regarding, what is some of how the market has changed, how we communicate with one another. Can you all still see my presentation? Sorry, I'm having a bit of an IT difficulty here.
No, but we see everyone on the call.
Let me just try and share that again.
Okay.
There we go. It should be back.
It's back. It's back.
Okay. So we are all facing some difficulties, and especially businesses around the world, on how do they deal with the pandemic and how do we communicate with each other and how we can actually do that efficiently. I think, the first portion of this is more regarding the challenges we face that we've seen that our customers face on how they collaborate both video, audio, and content, and what are the solutions available out there, and what can we do right now versus what can we plan for in our roadmap to ultimately get a unified communications experience. Okay, so on the introduction, what are some of the challenges we all face that's in business? So a lot of companies have an investment in traditional video conferencing. So that would be, video conferencing is not new. It has been around for quite some time, but traditional video conferencing was very costly, going upwards of 500,000 per room, with a lot of proprietary built infrastructure requirements and not really working well with others. And how do companies that's already invested all of that money in that technology, sweat their assets to be able to still facilitate, in our opinion, the market leader in UC and collaboration, which is Microsoft Teams. A lot of businesses, they had different applications for different workflows. So for instant messaging, I think everybody either used Skype for Business or Skype or Microsoft Teams. On the voice side, it would have been the soft phone application that is provided by your PABX manufacturers. So they would be either, if Jabber, if you're on a Cisco Call Manager side of things. And then on the collaboration side, it would either use third parties, Zoom, BlueJeans, etc. But none of them actually talk together. And for users, it was very cumbersome to actually understand and know how to use all of these different applications. And for a business, it's hard to drive adoption if there's multiple different apps. Okay, we all needed to reduce costs. I think the pandemic taught us all that reduction in costs is very prevalent. And of course, going further into this presentation, I'll talk a little bit more on the voice side of things. What can be done there to facilitate everything in a single platform. I don't think anybody was really ready for work from home. We all had handsets on the desk. We didn't really do a lot of video conferencing meetings. The standard was your traditional go to a boardroom, sit in the boardroom, have a presentation, but that is no longer the case, where users now require headsets, webcams, and ability to be able to connect to a much larger organization. A lot of our customers, I think 99% of customers out there, has got existing Microsoft licensing. Now, depending on that licensing, some of these features are already available. It might just not be implemented, such as phone system and so forth. Customers require an easy-to-use solution. Now, being in integration business for 17 years now, it's easy for me to walk into a boardroom and understand how all of the things fit together and how to physically interact with that device. Whereas somebody in the financial sector, they want to walk in, press a single button, and don't want to do anything else except talk to the people on the far end and concentrate on their business. And we needed to ensure that the solution is future-proof. A couple years back, about 5 years back, there was video conferencing devices that integrated with Skype for Business. Today, those devices now need to be replaced with the new Microsoft Teams devices, which obviously has a massive impact in expenditure for customers. So, with the newer solutions, it is Microsoft Teams based, but it can also facilitate third-party applications such as Zoom, WebEx, and anything that can physically run in your laptop through a bring your own device, which ensures that the solutions are future-proof. So to facilitate this, we've been looking at various options. We were a big Cisco house, and Cisco WebEx Teams was quite a topic a couple years ago, and we've adopted it, but it wasn't really very tight integration into the desktop and the users. And I will take you more when I take you through the demo of what is available on the Microsoft phone system, which is something you might not get with your traditional PBX provider. So on the Microsoft side, there is 3 distinct products in the collaboration space. The first one is MTRs, or Microsoft Teams Room systems. Now, these devices are native Microsoft Teams devices, which means you would license them with a Microsoft Teams Room standard license, and they would be part of your Teams tenant, and you would have some of the features there, which I'll take you through in the next slide, but more native integration where raising of hands can be seen, the participant list can be seen, and all of those features. Adding people to the conference ad hoc is a lot simpler. Scheduling those calls is all done via Outlook. The second portion to this is, what happens if I've got video conferencing, but I still need to connect to Microsoft Teams. For that is a gateway service called CVI, or Cloud Video Interop. This is located in the Azure cloud as well, and this connects back to your Microsoft Teams tenant to add additional features to take the traditional video conferencing world and integrate it into, or make it interoperable with the Microsoft Teams world. And then the last one is the Teams voice and the direct routing. So the Microsoft Teams, I'm not sure if you're aware, has got their own voice platform, or PABX, which is in Teams. And most customers, by simply implementing 1 or 2 routing devices, we can physically facilitate PSTN calls inbound and outbound, all on a single application, which is Microsoft Teams. And of course, together with Salt, we do the consultation services, the migrations and setups. And the last point is just workspace management. How are we going to manage our employees in the hybrid working place of the future? I'm not really going to go through any of this, just that the Surface Hub is now available for the African market. The Surface Hub has always been available overseas in Europe and Americas, but it's now available in the African continent. So in a little bit further on in this presentation, I will just take you through what that actually means and what are some of the benefits of that. So let's jump into the solutions. So the first solution is the Microsoft Teams Room solution. As I said before, it's a native Microsoft Teams Room device. What makes it unique is when conferences get scheduled, it all gets scheduled via Outlook. You click the Teams button and you add the specific resource account or the boardroom account. And when that meeting takes place, you walk into the room, you press one join button, and everything else is taken care of. No specific dial strings that somebody needs to remember or reference back on a meeting invite. It is all simple to join. Support for BYOD, or bring your own device. Now, this is very prevalent because we have a lot of customers that says, yes, I'm using Microsoft Teams, but some of my customers, they use Zoom. So how do we physically integrate that? And can I still have a Zoom conference while on a Microsoft Teams device? And the answer is yes. With a single cable, if you've got Type-C on your laptop, you can connect and you will be able to utilize the camera, speakers, and peripherals that's in the room, all through your laptop. So third-party applications is very simple to join. Microsoft has enabled this feature in March, where there's third-party guest join for Zoom and WebEx meetings. Same process if you're on WebEx and you're scheduling a call, scheduling a conference, you would simply invite the resource account as before. It will also give you a single join button to join those sessions. Okay, these devices all have dual display, support for HDMI and a newer USB Type-C to share content. We can even control aspects of the room, such as lighting, switching on and off of the projectors or the displays, all from the single touch panel that comes with all of these devices. To talk about the ease of use, a lot of the devices have what we call camera auto framing. What that means is if I'm sitting in a 15-seater boardroom and it's only myself and two of my peers, and we need to have a conference, the camera will automatically zoom in and frame all of us to have the best possible view for the participants on the far side. And of course, with Microsoft, you now get quite in-depth management via the Teams Admin Center, where you can physically manage these devices. And I will take you through that in a slide a little bit later on. The three main products or brands that we do in this space is Crestron, Logitech, and Yealink. All of them are certified by Microsoft, and all of them have a similar use case. Some of them just have one or two different features out of the box that others don't have. So now, okay, but thank you, Moritz. That's great. But now I've got my existing VC that I want to sweat my assets until it depreciates in a couple of years. How can I connect to Microsoft Teams? Now, to do that, we would do a cloud video interop service, which is once again located in the Azure cloud to facilitate the traditional SIP or standards-based HTTP3 and SIP devices to be able to connect to the Microsoft Teams and the technology that they use. You will get all the features of your video conferencing device. So now on a lot of the Cisco's, you do get the camera presenter tracking, voice tracking, and so forth. All of those features and the workflow you would use to actually come into the room and connect your laptop will be the same. But because it's a gateway service and not the full native experience, there are some limitations on the service. One of them would be lobby bypass. Now, what that is when somebody connects, such as you all connected, you would be in the lobby and somebody that is the organizer of the meeting would still need to allow you into the meeting. With these video conferencing devices, even if they're all within your organization, you would still need to connect via the Teams app just to allow those devices in. You won't be able to see any raising of hands. People can mute you from the Teams interface and you can't unmute yourself unless you use a specific DTMF code to unmute yourself. There's no Microsoft whiteboard support. And this is becoming more and more relevant, especially with the hybrid working model that we all face. And lastly, one of the limitations is you won't be able to see all of the participants inside of the call. You will just see the gateway service as a participant. Please stop me if you've got a specific question in any of these solutions. Otherwise, I'll definitely take your questions a little bit later. So now on the Microsoft Surface Hub, I'm not sure if any of you are aware of the specific features of the Microsoft Surface Hub. This is obviously a Microsoft built and branded device, native Microsoft Teams device as well, native support for whiteboarding in Microsoft Teams. It also has Miracast built in, so Windows Key K, and you can share wirelessly to that device as long as you're on the same network. You can share multiple apps in a call. And I think this is the main differentiator between a Microsoft Teams Room device and a Microsoft Surface Hub. On the Microsoft Surface Hub, you can have the whiteboarding session and the wireless presentation being sent to the far side as a single presentation stream, which gives a little bit more flexibility, especially on the whiteboard side, where I can actually draw about a picture that or a presentation that's on the wireless sharing side. It's got everything built in. You can also log into it to be so that you can access all of your files on OneDrive. Where we see this being a solution in which area it goes into is more on the C-level executive suites in their offices, where they would run it on personal mode so that if they get a call on their mobile, on a Microsoft Teams or their laptop, they can easily transfer this to the Microsoft Surface Hub. Now let's get down to management. With the traditional video conferencing world or collaboration space, you could always manage specific devices, but you could only manage that device. You couldn't really manage any of the peripherals, such as the speakers, such as the microphones, such as the displays. What Microsoft has enabled is that we can now manage down to the peripheral level. So if, for instance, in a scenario that happens quite often, is in a conference room, there's 2 displays, but over the weekend somebody decided that they're going to unplug the HDMI cable from the second display because they wanted to plug it in their laptop and play DSTV, for instance. That would immediately show as it's disconnected and trigger an alert to whoever you want to physically trigger that alert to, be it your IT help desk or your network support help desk or the likes. Another thing is also the call quality dashboard. I think we've all experienced where we're in a Microsoft Teams call and it tells you hold on while we try to reconnect you, which is quite frustrating. But in order to mitigate all of those issues, we would need to interrogate what physically happened on the call. And on the Teams Admin Center, on the CQD or the call quality dashboard, you will physically be able to see where that happened. Was it packet loss? Was it jitter? What actually happened on that call? One keynote to just take here is Microsoft obviously has launched the updated licensing models to facilitate these UC devices. If you connect it on a standard E5 license, you won't necessarily have all of the management capabilities on it. You would need to then, at your annual renewal, you would then go, your licensing renewal, you would then go and say, okay, instead of these E3, E5 licenses, let's rather move them over to Teams Room standard licenses so that we can enjoy all of the benefits on it as well. Now, on the cloud video interop or CVI, how it physically works is on the left-hand side, you would see there's the standard space HTTP3 or SIP endpoints inside of your organization. It would then connect to the Azure cloud via a cloud CVI provider, which is Cisco, Polycom, BlueJeans, Pexip. That would then translate the traffic and the protocols from what the traditional standard space world likes to what Microsoft Teams uses, both inbound and outbound. The CVI is not licensed per endpoint, it is licensed per concurrent call. So if you've got 5 devices, but you only see that 2 of those devices being in a Microsoft Teams call at any given time, you would only need 2 licenses to connect those devices. And maybe a question for the floor here would be, in your organizations, do you have traditional video conferencing devices such as Cisco, Polycom, and the likes? And if you do you have the requirement to actually connect those devices to Microsoft Teams meetings? Right.
Sorry, can you just repeat that? Whoever said that? Okay. Maybe it was a bum unmute.
Accidental unmute. Okay, let's move on. So that's the CVI, and this is more a stopgap option while we're planning to migrate into native Microsoft Teams Room devices to have the capability to have your existing video conferencing assets connect into Microsoft Teams. Next one is one that I get a lot of questions about, and that is the Microsoft Teams phone system or direct routing. In essence, what this is enabling PABX features in the Microsoft Teams environment, and also facilitating both inbound and outbound PSTN calling, all without going through, all whilst going through your existing ISP or telco provider. Okay, we achieve this via a session border controller, which in essence takes the traffic and just puts it on a SIP trunk to your telco as it is right now. Okay, additional to this is the softer items such as the handsets that's certified for Microsoft Teams, or the headsets, which is also part of the solution. So just how it works. Obviously, there's a licensing component on Microsoft Teams. If you're on E5 license, all the users already has phone system as part of that. But if you're on E3 or Business Premium, you would need to add the Microsoft phone system licensing to that. So what I always talk about is maybe on the left-hand side, that is the more popular version. We would see here under the PSTN, that is our SIP trunk provider or telco, our existing service provider. We then add a session border controller, which is Microsoft Teams certified. We've got our legacy PABX here that can be a Cisco call manager or something similar. And we've got our Teams users here. So how we as Amigo implemented this come last year, October, I think it was, we still had licensing on our call manager on our PABX for another year. And we wanted to get the benefits of having the PSTN voice on Microsoft Teams. So we ran it in coexistence mode. So what would happen if somebody gives you a call, it would hit the session border controller, and then it would fork to both your legacy PABX as well as your Teams application. And wherever you pick up or onto that call, that is where the media would route through. Okay, and I'm just going to show you some of the features on phone system in the next couple minutes, and just how some of the unique features of the Microsoft Teams phone system. Now, this is the next portion to this is how do we physically manage users and employees, and when we are adopting a hybrid working model. I think it's safe to say that the majority of organizations were forced to adopt a hybrid working model, and my personal opinion is that I think it's here to stay. I don't think 100% from the office and none at home is going to ever be viable again. I think people have gotten used to the quality of life that it offers and the flexibility that it offers to work from anywhere. So what happens if I want to go to the office? We've obviously, because of a hybrid working model, we've now went with the route of going, you know what, we don't need 1,000 desks anymore. Let's make it 500 desks, and let's get the users to book their desks. And that way we reduce our spend on our facilities and our buildings, but still giving users the flexibility to actually go to the office. So what would happen is, if I can take you down to the bottom right-hand picture where you've got all of the green dots or the floor plan, is I would go into my Outlook and there's a little plugin. I would click that and I would say, I want to book my desk for tomorrow. Okay, it brings up this little graphical user interface and this floor plan. And let's say I wanted to do the middle green spot there closest to the boardrooms. As soon as I book that space, it will automatically reserve the adjacent spaces closest to me to ensure that social distancing takes place. We can integrate this to either check in and check out via a QR code that is printed on the desks, or it can be a physical desk sign where it integrates with your existing access control. And on the left, you can see it's available, it's reserved. I've now checked in, it's red, nobody can be there. And then when I'm done, what happens? Because it's a hot desk, that desk needs to be cleaned before another person can actually be on that desk. And the physical desk sign would say, this requires cleaning with both the desk sign and with the QR codes, and that would send an email or a trigger to your cleaning staff to say, these desks need to be cleaned as there was people physically sitting there. Now, what happens after COVID? What happens when there's herd immunity and COVID is not such a prevalent thing anymore? The benefits of this platform is that you would be able to actually track from a facilities point of view, which is one of the top expenditures in any business, to see how it's actually physically occupied. So in this example, you can see in the morning, in the afternoon, and what is the average of the occupancy. So, if, for instance, we can see this is both for desk as well as for meeting rooms. If we see that, there is 10 meeting rooms on the fifth floor, but we see on average that only 30% of those meeting rooms are actually being utilized. Does it make sense to break down those meeting rooms and create more office space? It just gives facility managers a little bit more granular reporting on what is actually happening within their facilities and locations. Okay, so here I'm going to quickly go to the Microsoft Teams interface to show you some of the features of the phone system. So on the left here, we all have this. We've got our little calls button here. This is nothing new. We all have this with Microsoft Teams to connect via Microsoft Teams SIP. But if I click dial a number, you would see here that I've got my extension, my direct extension number here, and I'm able to now make any PSTN call, both inbound and outbound. Some of the settings that you can actually take through is what happens when somebody calls me. Does it ring me? Does it also ring a group? Now, a scenario or use case here is for smaller IT help desks. Maybe you don't have a contact center platform to actually facilitate all of these calls. It's maybe in a single extension. And if somebody dials that extension, what happens? Let's ring the group. Let everybody get involved, or, if it's unanswered, or if somebody calls me, just always route it to my cell phone. How I've set up mine is that if I don't answer within 20 seconds on my Microsoft Teams app, it would then route to my cell phone number.
Okay.
So another feature is, what happens with voicemail. Now, every user can record their own greeting. We can also say that, some options that what happens when you reach a specific voicemail. We can either say, let the caller record a message, or let them record a message and transfer to somebody else. So there's some features there that really assist in making sure that, number one, if your customers are phoning you, or if somebody phones you, that they can leave you a message, but also get in touch with somebody that can help them immediately.
Moritz,
yes.
We have a question. We have a hand up from the audience.
Oh, sorry, I can't see that. Yes.
Marky.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. But that's my question. Just on the I think on the previous slide, you spoke to a call center scenario. Just want to understand: is this feature or capability part of Teams that you can sort of set up a call desk within the application?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously, that is something you would set up in a Teams admin center on, how you route it and so forth. And this is standard when you get phone system. You would get all of these users get these features. However, I'm a super user because I demo this. You won't necessarily give all of these options to your specific users. But what we've seen is, I don't know if you know the Microsoft Teams apps that well, and I will maybe spend some 5 minutes on that just to take you through how we did our own internal IT help desk. But with the voice side of things, you can do rudimentary call desk features. It doesn't have that deep integration with WhatsApp and SMS and so forth that we find in bigger contact centers, but it can give you, for your IT help desk, a user phones in a specific extension and it would ring the group, and there would also be, the chat via the Teams channels as well.
And then just the last one, and I assume that this feature or functionality will exist in the E5 license
yes,
model?
Yes. Basically, with Microsoft E5, you get everything. This would be the phone system. If you're on E3, you would need to add the phone system per specific user that that's got a extension.
Okay, thanks a lot, Maurits. Appreciate it.
Cool, no problem. And now the last feature on the voice side of things that I think is very unique and something that only Microsoft can do is, we all go on leave, we're all sick, we all have out of office auto replies, and it does an Outlook. When I click it here, I don't have to go physically set up my voicemail manually. I can just say, when I have my auto reply on, play this specific message or transfer this call to somebody else after they've left a message, which is quite a unique feature, just in simplifying the user journey of interfacing with the application. Now, just maybe on it, just more on the Microsoft Teams apps. We have built our own little IT support, internal IT support on Microsoft Teams, and this goes into the question regarding a simple IT help desk and call desk, what can be done. So this is just the one we did for IT support instead of sending emails to log calls or phoning a specific individual. This has all been done by our in-house team where I can just log in, I can go see my tickets, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to one of my completed tickets, which was a printer scanning issue. When you build the applications, it's very simple. When a user logs a call, to automatically assign it to a group or assign it to a specific individual. You can also trace how long that took to take place, and you can also keep it to show what was IT busy with. So just quickly logging a new call, I'm just going to say test. What categories? You can have different categories. So if you want to do a larger service desk type of scenario, you will have HR queries there, you will have payroll, you will have IT and the likes. Here, I'm just going to say hardware, and I'm going to say the priority is high, and my headset is broken. And I would create that. I'm not going to create it now, otherwise our IT person is going to say what the hell happened, but that you get the gist of it and how it physically works. Okay, and with that, that is it for my presentation. Is there any other questions I might be able to answer for you?
Questions from anybody? I will remind you, will have a feedback email and a feedback form where you can directly engage, or we can answer questions after the fact. I know Maurits has got somewhere he's got to go. So if there's no questions, then we are going to release Maurits for today. Thank you very much, Maurits. And I'm sure that we'll be talking to you a lot in the future. Thanks,
Thank you,
Maurits.
everyone. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day further. See you again. Cheers. Bye.
Okay. All right. So over to me. All right, so the next section I'm going to be presenting to you guys, it's specifically with regards to a very new product called Microsoft Viva. And Microsoft Viva is an employment experience program. Just before I jump into Microsoft Viva, I would just like to make sure that, or if you missed the first part of the session, we are going to be sharing the recording. So if you missed a section of Maurits's demonstration, it's really worth watching. I'm going to share the recording. You guys can go and watch it again, and you can share it. The recording will be available for 7 days, and you're welcome to share the recording if there's anyone in your company or in department that you think should be seeing this content. This is the last session around this specific topics for the month of June. Next month, we will have new content. So please, the recording will come. You can share it, and then we'll have some feedback afterwards. Okay, but next up, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is just a very introductory video around what is Microsoft Viva and what is the employee experience program anyway. So we're going to start off with a short video on that, and then I'm going to show you something that's happening in Teams with regards to it. Okay. All right, here we go. Oops, let me just make sure that I've remembered to add my sound. I'm notoriously bad for forgetting that. Okay. There we go.
More than ever, people are the key to business success. But in this new world of hybrid work, it's harder than ever to engage with employees, to drive culture change, to upskill workers, and to ensure the well-being of your team. There's never been a bigger need for technology, data, and insights that are designed to create a great employee experience. That's why we built Microsoft Viva. Viva is our integrated employee experience platform that's designed to empower people and teams to be their best. Viva brings together communications, insights, knowledge, and learning within the flow of everyday work.
Just let me quickly check in with everyone. Can everyone see and hear? Is everybody able to see?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, guys. Sorry. We'll continue. Just checking.
And it's built into apps like Teams and Outlook and Office. We've designed Viva with the employee at the center and a clear focus on meeting their increasingly complex needs. We also designed Viva to respect privacy and to protect company data. As part of Microsoft 365, Viva sits in your trust boundaries with privacy safeguards and protection for employees. Viva builds on Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Graph Extensibility Framework, so developers can leverage their existing skills. Viva provides an open and extensible platform with a strong ecosystem of partners, so it works seamlessly with your existing systems, including, and it's the list, Cornerstone On Demand, Coursera, edX, Glint, Headspace, LinkedIn, Pluralsight, Salesforce, SAP SuccessFactors, ServiceNow, Skillsoft, Slack, Workday, Zoom, and many, many more. In addition to these ISVs and content providers, we're joined on this mission by our global network of service partners like Accenture, PwC, and EY. Let's hear from some of our partners who are helping organizations like yours on their employee experience journey.
What's important is a human experience. It's important that we're putting people at the center of business. So that business can achieve those goals, they need people performing at their best. SAP, SuccessFactors, and Microsoft have a very long-standing relationship, as it will continue to be providing employees that incredible experience long into the future. This is about helping our employees be productive, learn, upskill, and continue to grow their careers by leveraging the solutions that they have right out of their homes.
Employee experience is an absolute top priority for our clients. We have a long-standing relationship and partnership with Microsoft, and I have to say I'm super excited about the new capabilities of the Microsoft Viva platform. It is really allowing us to help our clients to do more and achieve more, to better themselves both on an organizational level and on a personal level for their employees.
I think the direction that Microsoft and certainly that WM Reply are moving in is really understanding the needs of each of the different audience groups that make up an organization's workforce or people force, to make sure that they're getting the curated experience that they need to help them feel more connected, more motivated, and more productive.
The partnership between Microsoft and Cornerstone unlocks the opportunity for all people at work to be able to learn in the context of the work tools where they already are. So learning will become ubiquitous. Learning will be always on, always present, and at the fingertips of employees.
So ServiceNow helps improve employee experience in a few key ways, whether they are looking to get access to an application from IT, whether they are looking to book a workspace that they know has been sanitized and properly equipped, they can go to one place and ask that question. So using Viva, an employee can be able to pull up knowledge articles out of ServiceNow.
Microsoft Viva and Headspace are truly innovating together by injecting meditation and mindfulness tools and resources into the spaces such as Microsoft Teams where people are spending their days. So I see this partnership and Microsoft Viva and Headspace coming together as encouraging employers and influencing the industry to really look after the holistic well-being of their employees.
We couldn't be more excited to share Microsoft Viva with our customers and partners. I'm looking forward to getting your feedback and having you join us on this journey to reimagine the employee experience.
Okay, so that was very high level, and I always say this is the fluffy part of the presentation, but it's all around employee experience. I've been preaching to the choir for many years that at some point everything that's going to be happening is going to be happening in Microsoft Teams. So eventually your Outlook will disappear. We're already seeing the calendar functionality in Teams, OneDrive, all of those apps are going to disappear. And it's because Microsoft is listening to their customers. Their customers are saying, we're confused, we have too much to do, it's too many apps, make our lives simpler. And making life simpler means bringing everything into one place. And that is bringing it into Microsoft Teams. So Viva, like all the other Microsoft applications and non-Microsoft applications, by the way, are being integrated into Teams. So I'm just going to show you a quick look at my Teams. And by the way, this stuff I'm showing you is extremely new. It is launched, Viva was launched in February this year. There are 4 different components. You have topics, connections, learning, and another one, which is probably technical. I'm not remembering it so well, but it's actually being rolled out in a phased approach. And I'm going to show you the first one that has been rolled out and should be available in your Teams as well, which is the Insights. So if you go to the 3 little dots at the bottom, I know the 9 dots is called a hamburger. I'm not sure what the 3 dots are called. But anyway, you go to the 3 dots, you go to Insights, and you'll now have an Insights app built into Teams. And this speaks specifically around what they were saying about employee wellness. Some of this might look very familiar. If you guys are getting Cortana emails or Insights emails, you might be recognizing some of this stuff that you're seeing. You see there's a home page here, which connects into your calendar. So now I don't have to go check my calendar every time to see what my next hour is going to look like. It also gives you the ability here to indicate how you're feeling. So you can indicate how you're feeling, and then you can also go have a look over history. How have you been feeling? Now, this information is just for my view as an end user. And I want to reiterate again that Microsoft at no point in time is allowed to open your emails, read your documents. They can't do that. Their security and compliance has been set up in such a way that they're unable to do that because they are third-party verified, like regulators like GDPR. They can't look at your data, but what they do is they use telemetry to see how you are using the software. So how many hours a day is Vanessa spending typing emails? How many hours a day am I in meetings? Do I have back-to-back meetings? And when the system, when Viva Insights sees that I've had now 3 calls that I've attended on Teams and I have not had a break, then it's going to pop on and tell me I need to breathe. And you'll be surprised. You think this is silly stuff, especially the guys will think it's silly stuff. But I was having high blood pressure like 2 weeks ago. And then the doctor said, well, come back. We're not going to just go on one time. And I actually made a mental exercise of it, of doing deep breathing before I took my blood pressure for the second time. And lo and behold, the blood pressure was under control. So it might sound like fluffy stuff, but we are all under immense pressure. And with the whole pandemic thing, we are under huge amounts of stress. So this is why Microsoft launched this program also, is to help us help our employees manage that stress and our physical and emotional well-being. So this is my personal view. This is Viva Insights. It also sees how I communicate with my colleagues. So if I'm sending lots of emails with my colleagues and it picks up that the language being used in the emails is really positive, it'll make suggestion that I send some praise to my colleagues that I'm working with. Next to the home tab, there's a stay connected tab. Here it gives me this will remind you of Cortana and Insights. Every mail that was landed in my mailbox that was a question mark directed at me that I have not answered will pop up here so that I don't have to leave my mails unread. I don't know if anybody else does that. I do. And then you end up with a mailbox of 150 unread items. So this really helps you get away from that mail bombardment. Then there's the protect time feature, which might always also sound or look familiar to you guys, and really focusing on focus time. And then here you'll see the My Organization tab. This is very new. I actually only loaded the licenses for Salt yesterday. And I'm so excited to see it here, because what this will allow me to do is to actually see how my team is doing. So people in my team, who I am the manager of the leader of, I'll be able to see how they are. You know, do they need to take a break? Are they working overtime? Are they constantly working on Saturdays and Sundays? To remain competitive in the industry, or actually, I mean, internationally, locally, if you want to be the employer of choice, it's stuff like this that differentiates you from the competitors. Why can one work for Salt and not for one of the competitors? Because we care about our people. All right, we care about our people. We care about their physical and their emotional and their psychological health, and we have the tools to help us to care, even if we are not allowed to sit in the same office and see across from the hallway that that person's wearing a frown. We have got the technology now to support us, to provide that type of employee experience. So yes, I'm going to quickly, you can interrupt me at any time if you've got questions. I'm going to go over to the next video now. This is around Viva Topics. Viva Topics is specifically how we use words that are used very often in our organization. So if we talk about things in our language, in our emails, projects, names of projects, things like that, those are topics that are relevant in our organization. And those topics might be foreign to some and very well known to others. But for us to have a holistic understanding of our business, it's good to have a knowledge repository where all of this information sits about these topics that are relevant to our business. So just a very short clip on Viva Topics.
Hi, Vanessa.
Yeah.
There's no sound.
Oh, I lost my sound. Sorry, I apologize. Let me go back. Sorry. Let me reshare. Make sure my sound button is on. Let's try this again.
New employee experience platform, Microsoft Viva, you can empower employees by giving them great experiences that put knowledge to work. Viva Topics uses the Microsoft Graph to organize content into topics. It builds summaries and connects experts. In Microsoft Teams, hovering over a topic presents the summary on a topic card that also lists key documents and top experts. No searching, no app switching. This information finds employees in the apps they already use every day. Selecting a card opens a detailed view of the information Viva Topics has collected, which you can curate and edit yourself, like definitions, subject matter experts, key documents, related topics, curated discussions, and communities. Employees can use topics in Microsoft Teams to find and follow information like suggested learning courses. You can review suggested topics before publishing and filter to see which get the most and least engagement, so you can shape the flow of knowledge throughout your organization. Viva Topics already organizes information in Microsoft 365. However, content connectors give you the power to integrate information from other sources, like ServiceNow. Over 130 connectors are available now, and you can use our API to integrate even more sources. Viva Topics inherits the security, privacy, and compliance capabilities of the Microsoft Graph, so employees see only what they have permission to see. We're working to extend Viva Topics beyond Microsoft Teams, so you'll see the same topic highlights in other Microsoft 365 apps, including Outlook and SharePoint. Capture and distribute knowledge to all employees. Connect them to experts. Viva Topics works in the apps they already know and love.
So that's Viva Topics. Then you also have Viva Connections. So Viva Connections basically is integrating SharePoint or intranet into your Teams. So it basically pulls in your intranet into Teams. Just a high level view of that from our side. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow on this side. Work from home. Apologies. But you are basically now able to pull in your intranet as well. Then the last piece I would like to share with you, which is for me the best piece because I'm extremely passionate about learning. Microsoft Viva has a learning component. They not only focusing on insights, so we're talking here about physical and emotional well-being, they're also looking at you intellectually. So once again, if you're in an Excel spreadsheet and you're struggling terribly, every time you get to a formula, you like take 5 minutes to figure out the formula. So then Viva Learning is going to say, notice not reading what you are typing in the Excel sheet. It won't see the numbers or the what. It will just notice you hovering every time you put in the equal sign, for example. And then it will suggest learning material for you based on where you are struggling or where the system sees that you are having difficulties. So we only have a couple of minutes left. This is the last video for the session, and then we'll have a quick Q&A and close. And here we go with Viva Learning.
Microsoft Teams is your hub for teamwork, a shared workspace for team conversations, files, and apps. And now, with Microsoft Viva in Teams, leaders can also use it to create a learning culture that empowers people to be their best and do their best by learning new things. By bringing learning into the space where they already spend their time, it's easier than ever for team members to gain the information they need to grow their careers and contribute to the success of the business. Viva Learning lets anyone pin a learning tab in a Microsoft Teams channel. Sources include LinkedIn Learning and Microsoft Learn, company-specific content, content providers like Skillsoft, Pluralsight, Coursera, and edX, and content stored in learning management systems like Cornerstone On Demand, Saba, and SAP SuccessFactors. Search for and select content from the learning library to share with team members where they're already collaborating, communicating, and getting work done. Viva Learning adds the selected content to the Learning tab so they can seamlessly transition from learning to other important work activities. With Viva Learning, managers can also assign courses to individuals to help address the skills gap while driving an agile workplace that prioritizes learning and growth. Of course, they can also view the status of learning tasks they've assigned, plus everyone's completion status. Employees can then customize, simplify, and supercharge what and how they learn, all in one place, the My Learning view. From here, they can select courses to help them grow in their career and as a person. This simple view shows their assigned learning tasks. Viva Learning also uses AI to deliver personalized recommendations. Select a course to reveal details and options, such as liking or bookmarking it for later. Then start learning by jumping in. When they're ready to discover more, they can search for and share learning with their teammates via chat. Everyone can benefit from great learning material without ever leaving Microsoft Teams. Viva Learning helps simplify the learning experience for teams and makes it easy to discover, share, and engage with the content needed to drive growth, both personally and professionally.
Okay, so that was it for Viva for today. Like I said, it's really, really new. The features are being rolled out slowly but certainly. Some of it obviously is an add-on to your licensing if you're interested in it. Microsoft's not in it for free. But yeah, that was it from my side. I'm opening the floor for Q&A, if any. No questions? Got one, Conjeni? Go for it.
Hi, good afternoon, Vanessa.
Jenny.
Actually, yeah, I came a little bit late, but I think I did listen to is it Marius
Moritz.
Morris, and your presentation. But there's one thing that actually I wanted to ask on was the integration of the intranet via SharePoint onto the Teams platform. You said, is it still being rolled out or is it
No, you
already?
can do it now. You can do it now, Kunjeni. If you like, I will send you the instructions how to make that happen. I can just share the the steps you need to take. It's already the feature's already available in Teams. It's called Viva Connections.
Okay. So does it require you to do it for everyone individually on their separate applications, or you just
No,
publish it and
you just publish it and then it becomes available. Let me quickly show you. Yeah, it becomes available on your team. So once you publish it as an app, then if you go under find an app, ours is called Salty's 360s. Salty 360. But I mean, you can call yours whatever you want, and then it becomes available as a searchable app for them.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, then it just helps because then they don't have to navigate to SharePoint and then come back. Yeah,
Exactly.
because Teams is most of the time Teams is actually open for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
no,
Thank you,
thank you,
Kunjeni.
Vanessa.
I'll send you instructions how to do that.
Right.
Okay. I have a message box message saying I should share the instructions for all. I shall do so. I'll share some I'm going to send you guys an email, then you indicate to me you're interested in Viva, and then I'll follow up on that. Okay. Otherwise I bombard the whole group with everything. Okay, thanks, John. We'll speak to you soon. Melvin, you had a question.
Hi, Vanessa. No, it was basically the same that was written in the chat box.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna send the follow-up mail. We can connect afterwards. I know everybody is very busy. We're keeping within our time frame strictly. I thank you very much for your time today. Watch out for the recording. Share with everyone you think that can find benefit and value out of it. And yeah, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. We will be connecting soon. Thank you. Goodbye.